What's going on, America? Kevin from Kevin's Corner, where I try to make some sense out of nonsense. And I just got done doing a live show where I was refereeing and promoting what I like to call, these political bouts. And, what I did is I brought some heavy hitters out, like Tom Cotton, Ted Cruz, all of them, and Marsha Blackburn. And they were beating up on Merrick Garland, the Attorney General for the Biden administration. But I did leave one clip out that I want to react to. And it is brought to us by none other than Tom Cotton. And he's questioning Merrick Garland on, something that makes some sense. But for some reason, the Biden administration decided to implement a policy that is really making the job harder if they're really trying to solve the problem. So you always got to ask yourself, if you're really trying to solve the problem, then let's check all of the decisions that you make and see if they contribute to the problem or they solve the problem. Do they make it better or worse? And Tom Cotton is about to use such a clever tactic in a way to put him in a compromising situation where he has to expose that he's raggedy, just like we all assumed he was. Before we get to this video, make sure you hit like, share my videos, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Also, make sure that your notifications are on and they're set to all. Now, let's get into this. But first, quick commercial break. Listen up, America. We are at war and we are in a recession. And those are two things that the government don't want you to know. But it's only a matter of time before cracks start to show. And do you know who's going to get hit the most? You. And that is why you need to protect yourself and your family, because things are going to get worse. But fortunately, Noble Gold Investments is here to help you. You work too hard to build up your savings and investments to see it all crushed to bits. A precious metals IRA with Noble Gold Investments checks all the boxes to keep you safe. And this month, they're giving away a beautiful Gold Eagle Bullion coin with every qualifying IRA of $50,000 or higher. Stop worrying and visit noblegoldinvestments.com. That is noblegoldinvestments.com. You can't go wrong with Noble Gold. So here we go, y'all. He is about to go ahead and launch a flurry of blows to Merrick Garland's nose. And maybe he doesn't even see it coming because of the clever technique that he uses. So this is brilliantly done. I have to give it to him. Let's check this out.
Mr. Attorney General, I want to explore the dangerous crisis at our southern border and your role in causing that crisis.
Oh.
Asylum traditionally is reserved for people who face things like religious persecution, persecution for their political beliefs, or violence because of their race or ethnicity. In June of 2021, you changed the department's asylum rules so that it could apply to individuals with significant gang violence in their home country. Is that 2021 interpretation still in place?
Now, see, that's the first mistake right there. I'm thinking to myself, if I'm a rational, logical person, and I've always wondered to myself as I look at our border getting worse, I said, wait a minute, I thought to get asylum into the country, you have to have certain requirements. But apparently, the Biden administration have lowered those requirements and added a new requirement into it, a category. All you got to do is just say, I'm fleeing gang violence now, and therefore I want to come to your country. So is that a wise decision to make if you want to lower illegal immigration? Or is it a clever way to increase illegal immigration by lowering the standard and using something that sounds like you are protecting the vulnerable and it's humanitarian and we want to make sure we're protecting the whole world? Well, if this is the case, then we probably should do that to every country, because every country has some type of broken government or some type of violence, especially some of them with real openly ran countries by drug kingpins or radical Muslims. And we should be taking on all of these places. Look at all the African countries over there that's probably suffering from warlords and all of that, but they just can't jump on a boat or something and come over here. They can't just come across our border. And they probably aren't going to come over here and do the same thing that these illegal immigrants from the South would do. It probably isn't worth it. They don't have to worry about that. But that's a pretty low bar that probably could include anybody, and you can't even verify that. Now, that don't sound like a wise decision to make if you're trying to stop illegal immigration. And Tom is about to expose him.
It is. It reinstates a previous interpretation that the department had of the same asylum rules, yes.
Okay. Do you know the most recent murder rate in Honduras?
I'm sure it's enormously high.
Oh, I'm sure it's enormously high with that quivering voice. Well, that sounds like some type of xenophobia. You're just assuming just because it's Venezuela and it's down there in the South that they're probably all running around killing each other and all of that. Probably still cannibals down there too. That right there is a stereotype. If Trump said that, he'd be a white nationalist, racist, xenophobe. But Merrick Garland, he just throws it out there. Now, I would assume that this man would know these numbers if you are importing people in from these countries. Because if the murder rate is very high down there and you are not set any type of qualification to determine who these people are and are they really escaping from gang violence or are they perhaps the gang themselves? What if they're the gang members? What if you are importing a whole bunch of MS-13 people over here? You know, if these countries have high levels of violence and murder, I mean, it would behoove you to stop and consider, do we want to accept a whole bunch of people from these countries if we cannot determine whether they are fleeing gang and murder violence and all of that stuff, or are they the murderers themselves? But hey, Democrats don't worry about those details. They just worry about packing them in. That's what they do.
36 per 100,000 people.
Ooh, 36
What about
per
Colombia?
100,000.
I don't know.
23 per 100,000.
You don't know that either?
Guatemala?
Again, I don't know, but I believe it's quite high.
17 per
17.
100,000. What about Mexico, right across our southern border?
I also think it's very high.
28 per 100,000.
28.
So I have to say, since you rewrote the rules of asylum based on the perceived degree of violence in these countries, I'm a little surprised you didn't know those, but let's look a little bit closer to home.
And that is so true. I cannot believe the guy who lowered the bar and said, you know what, y'all could come here if you're fleeing gang violence and you know, threats of murder. Y'all could come here, and I'm not even going to stop and see if the numbers justify us saying, come on. I'm not even going to do that. I'm going to disrespect American citizens and their intelligence by telling y'all that we are bringing all these people in here because they're fleeing gang violence. And I didn't even take a second to verify whether the gang violence and the murder is that high before I say, come on in, everybody, come on in. What that means to me is that you didn't care. It didn't matter. That was just nothing more than an excuse to allow these people to come here with a lowered bar. Before, you would have to justify that you were being persecuted because of your religious beliefs or because of your political beliefs, which is a hard bar to meet, especially when we are neighbor countries and all we got to do is just look down there and see if there's a civil war taking place or are there dictators persecuting folks because of their religion or their politics. See, so it's hard to meet that. But we do know that gang violence is rampant down there. And that right there would sweep up a whole bunch of people under a very low bar and standard. Yes, that's right. I'm coming for asylum. I'm scared for my life. Lots of gang violence. Well, sir, what about all those tattoos on your neck and things like that? Don't worry about that. When I was younger, the MSM-13, they made me get them. And that's why I'm coming to America trying to flee, even though I'm going to bring MS-13 to your country and to your cities. But don't think like that. Don't think like that. You don't want to stereotype me. So let's continue here.
Do you know the murder rate in New Orleans last year?
I don't, but I want to be clear. This wasn't based on violence. This is based on threats specifically to individuals, on gangs, where the country was unable to protect the person. That's what it was about. It wasn't about violence in general.
Okay. Well, you're partly responsible for protecting Americans, so let's see.
At least we thought that. See, and that asinine statement that he just made even makes it worse. It was based on threats, not actual violence, just threats of gang violence. How do you know that? What is your fail-safe proof mechanism that keeps you from being gotten by being gullible enough to just assume? I mean, were you there when these people were being threatened? Do you have evidence that they were being threatened by gang violence? That's an excuse that anybody can use. Walk right up, the gang violence in my neighborhood. Do you have any video footage? No. Do you have any evidence, any documentation? Did you even file anything with your regular local police? Do you have any police reports? Nothing like that? Don't worry. I trust you. I mean, you look honest enough. Come on in. Or could it be sending a signal to everybody in the South, America, that wants to come here for our better life, that all I got to do is come up there and just say gang violence and they won't even question me and they can't prove it either. So that is the dumbest decision that any leader could possibly make, unless they were not dumb and they were just diabolical and evil and needed an excuse to justify the stupidity.
Honduras' government can protect its own people, except for 36 out of every 100,000 for murders.
That's not bad.
Guatemala, 17 out of every 100,000. The murder rate in New Orleans last year was 70 for every 100,000. What about St. Louis?
Again, it's very high.
68 per 100,000.
68.
What about Baltimore?
Also very high.
58 per 100,000.
58.
Should American citizens in places like New Orleans and Baltimore and St. Louis begin to seek asylum in countries like Honduras and Guatemala.
What a beautiful tactic right there, the double trap. So you see how beautifully he laid this whole argument out and set Merrick Garland up. He didn't even see it coming. He's just answering questions and making himself look dumber and more incompetent. Yes, I don't even know how many people are being killed in these countries, and I don't know the murder rate down there, and I don't even know the murder rate here in the country that I'm supposed to be responsible for stopping crime. And it turns out that the murder rate in some of these Democrat-ran cities are higher than it is down there in these South American countries, and yet we're bringing in a whole bunch of people from these countries, which also could be contributing and adding to the uptick in murder rates in some of our cities. Because let's be real, I know they don't like us saying this, but not everybody who comes here is just coming for a better life. There's a lot of people coming for some evil intentions as well. And when you get the Democrats not discriminating, not worrying about these people's backgrounds, they just all about hurry up, just get them all in, we'll figure it out later before we're out of power. When you see that right there, if I'm a criminal, I'm like, yeah, let's get there. Especially if we end up in a Democrat-ran city where they won't even come after us if we act a fool for the most part, because they don't want to bring any attention to this whole illegal immigration thing. They want us all to look like we're just little angels here for a better life and all of that. So they're more likely to overlook a lot of my crimes. They're more likely to tolerate stuff. They're more likely to just give me a slap on the wrist like they've been doing. Okay, that's interesting. So this guy right here doesn't deserve to be somebody in that position, especially making stupid choices like that Tom Cotton just had to expose. That is not a good choice if you're trying to solve the problem.
Under your asylum principles?
Again, I'm saying that the principle here is protection of specific individuals who are being threatened by the gang, and where the local country is unwilling or unable to protect them.
So is the United States government and the city governments of St. Louis and Baltimore and New Orleans unwilling or unable to protect its own citizens?
I don't believe they're unwilling. They're doing everything that they can. We're supporting them in every way they can. The examples you're talking about are ones where they are unwilling to protect from gangs.
Well, now, I disagree a little bit with that, see, because their policies make it very apparent that they're unwilling to protect those people when they are trying to get rid of cash bail, demonizing police, defunding the police, letting criminals out all over the place, allowing them to tear up property, burn down stuff, all of those things. So my gut tells me that they're not willing to protect them, especially after all of those summers of love where they allowed them to burn down buildings and then they bailed them out. So it could be a case of they're just unwilling to protect them, as Merrick Garland said. Now, I don't think it's a case that, just like he's unwilling to protect us from illegal immigrants coming across the border by making it okay to just come to our border and say, I'm scared because of gang violence and I was threatened, so I need to come to your country. That right there is the same as these other Democrats on a smaller level, doing the exact same thing. You know, let's let all of these criminals destroy the country and intimidate and terrorize the regular law-abiding citizens while threatening the law-abiding citizens' guns and trying to attack and penalize them when they flash their guns, like those two down in St. Louis, and was like, don't you come up on this property when all those people are threatening them, and go after those people instead of the actual criminals. See, when you start seeing things like that, you have to wonder, are they unable or are they unwilling to protect the citizens? And should we all flee for the border, since it appears that it's safer down there than it is in our own country, especially in Democrat-ran cities, with this guy supposed to be the head cop?
Mr. Attorney General, one of the reasons we have a crisis at our border where we have illegal aliens running to our border patrol, not away from our border patrol, is this interpretation of asylum. That anyone, anywhere who lives in a dangerous or poor country can come here and seek asylum, as opposed to seeking it, as is traditionally the case, for things like persecution on religious belief or political practice. But let's move on. Let's move on, Mr. Attorney General.
But that's not the standard. I want to be clear.
You hear this guy? So that was beautifully done by Tom Cotton, and then you hear him try to throw that last lazy punch. That's not the standard. Let me be clear. No. You lowered the standards. Yeah. See, I'm clear on that. You have unfortunately broken it so that the border can be purposely broken. You knew what would happen when you went ahead and said, yeah, you know what? Let's allow them to come here and claim that they're coming to our country because of their fearing gang violence. A group of these people got together and said, what issue we could provide as an excuse to allow these people to come here that would make it very difficult for us to verify and vet these people over. What issue could we go ahead and create and say, this right now is allowing you guys to come here and just say we need to come to your country, that would pretty much sweep up any and everybody who comes up to that border. Oh, yeah, gang violence. Okay, so let's not check with the gang violence in all of our cities, which he didn't even know those numbers. Let's not check with the murder rates in our cities. No, he don't know those numbers. Let's not even check with the murder rates and the gang violence down there in their cities, because that's not our goal and objective. Our goal and objective is to create a pathway for all of these people to come here, and we tell everybody to shut up because it's a legal, justified reason for them to come that we created, that never existed, that we know that it would be extremely easy for these people to just pour right into our country, just like these Democrats have been wanting it to happen. So I think Tom Cotton exposed the culprit, which is Mayor Garland. That's who it is. He cannot blame it on anybody else but the Democrat Party and whoever else is behind this. Him and Mucus and the rest of them and Joe Biden and all of them talking about something. Search the border. Yeah, he called it out at the end by saying, you know what? The reason that they're coming is because of your horrible policies. That sends the message that it's open season, and the key password is, I'm coming here because of gang violence. Well, can you prove it? No, they told me I didn't have to do that. All I gotta do is just say I'm scared from the gang violence. Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, go ahead in. You want some Vatican care and community college on your way in? And there is a plane waiting for you. We're gonna go ahead and fly you to whatever state you want to live in, and then we'll give you a cell phone too. And if your baby needs formula, you're good. We'll hook you up, and don't worry about getting tested for COVID and all of that stuff. We don't require that for illegal immigrants. Only our citizens. Oh, and we'll never, no, regardless of you breaking any laws or crimes, never separate you from your kids. Only Americans, okay? So God bless you. Welcome to America. Okay, hey, and don't forget to vote for the Democrats. Now, God bless y'all. God bless America. See y'all next time in Kevin's Corner. Take care. God bless y'all. God bless America. Don't forget to hit that like button. Share my videos. Find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those good things. And please check out Extreme Teas, my sponsor. If you like their products, please click on the link below this video. Put Kevin in a promo code. You'll get a 20% discount. If you'd like to donate to Kevin's Corner, feel free. The links are below this video. If you want to be a part of my $2 a month club, also feel free to do that. All it entails is you simply dropping $2 a month into one of those links below the video. Or if you want, you can drop a nice big fat lump sum in there to offset the stuff that we know goes on with big tech. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Make sure that you are still subscribed. And finally, set your notification button to all, because YouTube is playing games, y'all. Now, God bless you. God bless America. See y'all next time in Kevin's Corner.